So I've kind of already described how I was like, particularly in my sophomore year, I was like at my wit's end doing everything, like anything to improve my grades. Like I was pulling all-nighters. I tried screwing up my sleep cycle, like I've already said. Like I I was attending all these different tutoring sessions. I even paid for tutoring. Like I was so desperate. Like I was attending all these crazy office hours. Like I was so desperate to get good grades. And I know now that the one thing that would have improved my situation is had I just cheated like everybody else and gotten my hands on some old exams, right? But something that was particularly insanely frustrating, to put it lightly, was how blatant the cheating was in my classrooms. And I am going to talk about two instances of many, but it was these two that were I can call like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like these two cases, this was the tipping point that resulted in me finally leaving UCLA. So before I go any further, let me make things very, very clear, because people have attempted to bastardize my story, and I just want to make things very clear. This was the tipping point. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. I did not leave UCLA because of some people cheating, okay? If you haven't been paying attention up for the first fucking, I don't know, 30, almost 30 parts of this story, my situation at UCLA wasn't exactly glamorous and nice, okay? I almost took my own life. I get these white booster societies and like that whole thing. Like I was super lonely. I was depressed. It wasn't a good situation, folks. And I do genuinely believe I would have ended up taking my own life had I stayed at UCLA. I believe that wholeheartedly. Okay. So again, the thing that finally got me to realize just how literal hopeless my situation was I'll describe the first of two stories. So first time that the first story. So I was in my lab class. It was a biology lab for some 23L. That for some reason that sticks out. Life Sciences 23L. I'm pretty sure it was. And I'll never forget these three bitches in front of me from Pi-Phi. Actually, one of them was the president of Pi-Phi at the time. Taking their exams all together. It actually was a quiz, and they all had their phones out. And I remember they literally were taking their quizzes together. TA's up front, doesn't give a shit. As a matter of fact, I remember Pi-Phi bitch President Bitch's comment about how if he's going to put stuff on the exam, on the quiz, that he didn't say he was going to put on there, then I have a right to cheat. Literally, those were her words. So afterwards, I tell the TA, he doesn't do shit. I don't even think he has the authority to do anything. Like, anyway. So that's the first time. Second story, which, mind you, these are only the two that I'm telling you. There were so many more than this. But the second time was in physics. So again, three girls sitting in the row directly in front of me. The Pi-Phi bitches were not directly in front of me, but these were Kappa Kappa grandma bitches. And I'll never forget, because I went through Facebook and I found who all these people were when I finally turned them in for cheating to the Office of Student Affairs. Getting ahead of myself. But one of the bitches only came to class once a week, like every Friday. And I'll never forget, because she always came with a different Kappa Kappa grandma shirt, and one of them was like Notorious BIG, like no, Notorious KKG. Anyway, same deal. Three bitches taking their test together. They have their flashcards out. And another one had their study guide out. They switch materials mid-exam so they can, communally cheat. And tell professor, same deal, nothing happens. So before I say anything else, like, why the fuck are y'all cheating? Like, y'all have every fucking resource at your disposal. Your parents have money. You have literally enough money to snot that you're in a fucking society that costs fucking $1,000 a quarter to even be in. Probably a lot more than that with all the other bullshit. Like, why the fuck are you cheating? Like, why? And honestly, like, how y'all don't have any morals. Like, your parents didn't teach you shit. And people think that because people have money that they have more class, and that's so fucking wrong. Like, there's a lot of trash at UCLA, okay? But coming from money does not mean shit. So, like I said, I was enraged by how blatant these two particular cases were. So I chose these two to turn in. I met with Doherty, I think his first name was Kevin, Dreads, and I met with another guy, UC Santa Cruz. I'll never forget. That's the only thing I remember, I should say. He had the little slugs up on his desk. So both deans at UCLA, I'm pretty sure they were both deans. And I also reached out to the head of my department. The head, because at the time I was a biochemistry major, so I was in the chemistry department. And actually, between Doherty and the head of my department, blonde lady, Montoya, that was her name, Montoya was her last name, probably still there. By the way, the other really, really hard thing about dealing with UCLA was the ego that every motherfucker had. So every student had an ego because it was they got into UCLA. Every faculty member had an ego because they were working at UCLA, okay? So that was another thing that was just so much fun about my whole entire time at the institution. But Montoya actually gave me the most hope that something would be done about the cheating, because she literally said that they knew that cheating was going on. They knew that it was a huge problem, and they were so grateful to me because I was the first person who had the courage to come forward. So I was like, okay, awesome. Something's going to be done about this. Perfect. I literally went through all the trouble of finding these people's names. I know that the deans met with these people. This all happened at the beginning of winter quarter, right? Fast forward to, I want to say it was week 3 or 4 of spring quarter. I emailed Doherty, who if I think I did mention, was also very responsive and to my cases. And what I remember him saying particularly was that when he met with these girls, they were very scared, and that he didn't say this, but he basically read between the lines like they acted very guilty. Okay, just putting that out there. So send that email asking for an update on the cases. I get a response from Mr. Doherty saying that they had all been dropped. That very same day, I walked down Bruin Walk for the last time and dropped out of UCLA.